Okay, so we have ads for the first one. Then we have our drop.
Yep.
Then we start with the teaser, not the teaser, but we start with the part 2.
Yep.
And then we just do our normal closing for that one.
I feel good about it.
Okay, cool.
All right. Do you want me to do the
opening?
I could do it.
Go ahead.
All right, here we go.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello, beautiful people. I'm Deja Riley.
And I'm Alicia Ferguson.
And you are tuning into Dose of Duality, the podcast where we dive into deep conversation, cultivating a sense of community around the state of coexistence. Hello, my friend.
I'm so happy to see you on the couch with me again.
I know, me too. I was excited to be here. I know we saw each other like earlier in the week because we're prepping for season 2. That's coming. But how are you feeling today?
I feel good but tired, which is the duality, right?
Yeah.
I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to be like filming and talking and discussing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just feel like kind of like drained. I think it was a busy weekend.
Yeah.
Or busy week that led into a busy weekend.
Yeah.
And I was sitting with that this morning when I was feeling kind of like, I was like, my battery feels low.
Yeah.
And then you all know I'm a HSP, y'all. So I was like, I was sitting there like, okay, what do I need? Do I need like time alone?
Yeah.
What should I do? So I just like did a nice little meditation.
Yeah.
I feel like it like centered me and grounded me. And so I feel better.
Yeah.
But there's excitement in the tiredness, if that makes sense.
That does make sense.
Yeah.
I've felt that before.
Yeah.
And I can relate to that. And I can also relate to the HSP part because, Alicia, first of all, I woke up this morning just so uneasy and unsettled. And like, do you ever wake up in the morning and you just like can't figure out why you're feeling a certain way?
I hate that.
Me too.
Yeah.
But I have now the tools to navigate through those moments and find out why I'm feeling a certain way. And so I spent the majority of my morning after having breakfast with Jimmy, I spent the majority of my morning asking myself what is going on. And like, I really asked myself like the big question, what am I anchored in this moment? Which like.
That's a big question.
Oh yeah. It's
early in the morning.
It's a big question. It's a little heavy for the morning.
After my cereal.
Right. I did have oatmeal this morning. But after that, I was like, because it sat with me. And you know, you get that visceral reaction like in your gut, like in your stomach.
Yeah.
And maybe start to feel a little bit of those butterflies. And I was like, just something isn't sitting right. Like, what is going on with me?
Yeah.
And it came back to conflict in relationships. That's where it stemmed from, which is interesting because we are going to a little bit later in this episode touch on relationships.
We are.
And
Tap all over it.
Tap. But then, you know, I had to remind myself who I am.
Who you be?
And whose I am, okay?
Ooh, more importantly.
And then I put on this fire playlist, probably not appropriate for a Sunday. But I put on my Femme Fire playlist. It has a little bit of Lotto, Meg Stallion, Cash Doll.
We love that.
And I turned it all the way up. I cranked it up in the car. I rode all the way here to my Femme Fire playlist. And then I was feeling good.
Yeah.
Like I walked in with like brand new energy.
Yeah.
No longer feeling uneasy, unsettled.
Yeah.
Just feeling bright.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that like how music can do that to you.
Yes.
When you're feeling kind of like, and you said like, I got to remind myself who I am. Like, no. All the things that I'm doing, all the things that like I'm being and like how I'm showing up for myself, for others. And it's just like get out of here, negative energy. Like, let me put that like Meg does it for me.
Yes.
Meg will definitely do it.
Meg can take you there.
I'm out here like, I ain't nothing but a boss. Bop, 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 bop. One leg out, pop, 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 like, and it's just like, can nobody throw it back? And it's like, you're not even doing that much. Right? In my head, I'm doing it all. I'm giving it all I got.
Oh my gosh, so good. And yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm in a better place now. But even last night, Jimmy was telling me I was talking in my sleep. And
do you do that often?
I think I do occasionally.
Okay.
Jimmy always happens to like hear it because he is a light sleeper.
Okay.
So like if I start talking in my sleep, he wakes up.
Yeah.
And that's actually like a really good thing because like if ever there was an emergency, I'm not worried that he's going to sleep through it.
Yeah.
He's like going to jump up even before I do. So like he said he heard me. He said at one point I just started laughing out loud so loud. And he started laughing too because he was like,
what else do you do though?
Yeah, right? He was like, I think he was just laughing at me, just like mad hysterics, just like laughing in my dream. But then he said there was another part of my dream that I was scared in. And I was like, no, don't follow me. Don't follow me. And I tapped like Jimmy and like kind of grabbed his arm and then like went back into whatever dream cycle I was in.
Wow. So he watched a whole movie like
last night.
Take place before his eyes.
Yep.
And didn't pay the tickets.
He did. He had a whole performance last night. I don't know.
Do you remember your dreams?
Sometimes.
Okay.
It depends. Usually, I remember them if I see familiar people.
Okay.
If I don't know anyone in the dream, it's much more likely that I will forget or only remember little pieces of it.
Mm-hmm.
But if I see familiar people or familiar places, I oftentimes remember.
Yeah. I don't dream often.
Yeah.
But anytime I engage in like, I usually fast for like religious and spiritual reasons, like the top of every month, like the first 2 days.
Yeah.
And anytime I'm fasting, I dream. And it's vivid. It's like very, very vivid. And so I get like messages that way. And so I'm like, I'll journal it and like write it down. My mom is like really good with dreams.
Really? Like interpretation of dreams?
Yes.
Okay.
So there was this woman in my family. She passed away. Like I don't know, play cousin, real cousin, aunt,
extended family.
Yeah. I don't know, but that was my auntie, my cousin, right?
Okay.
And could really, really interpret dreams. And I wish that I was older to really appreciate that.
Yeah.
When she was still around.
Yeah.
So my mom is good with it, not like how that woman was. But she'll give me tidbits. Like if you're dreaming, usually whoever you're dreaming about, it's never about that person.
Ooh.
So that's like if you see like your like best friend or whatever, it's usually not about that person.
Wow.
And you could think about like maybe who that represents or what that represents. So that's helpful.
Okay.
If you see like a wedding, it's usually never, it's the opposite. Like weddings are usually like death and like those things are the opposite.
Yikes.
And there's some other like little like tidbits that she gives me.
Yeah.
And then I have another friend, she's actually navigating, I think this is one of her spiritual gifts. I'm pretty sure it is, but she's navigating it now. Shout outs to you, Ada. Love you. One of my best friends. She's really, really good with dreams. But she's navigating it, right? So sometimes like I can tell her dream and what I might roughly think, she'll tell me, like, I think this is what like came to me. And I'm like, that's exactly what I was thinking. Like, how did you know? And so I take it as like confirmation.
Yeah.
Because like your inner knowing kind of gave you that like pat on the back, like this is the direction or this is what this means. But she'll like tell me the exact same thing sometimes. And I'm like, okay, confirmation.
Yeah.
But I'm a big believer in dreams really like not just living in that world, but they're like pathways to like what's about to happen, maybe giving you insight and like, downloads to like, I've even had one dream. I remember I was doing this, it was for BKO Club. We were raising 30K in 30 days.
Yeah.
And it was like making, and this was when we first started, so there was no like big community. It was just like, I think we can do it. Yeah. So it's a big declaration or like the community to like pull
That's
this
a lot
out.
of money in 30 days.
Yes. And just like, I just feel.
Yeah.
And so super nervous, super scared. It's like, it was a stretch for me, right? And I just remember having a dream, just like, and in the dream, it was like confirmation that like, it's good. Like, and the dream was really like, it's going to look scary to the very end.
Woo.
And it let me know like, it's not going to look like you're going to hit it, but like just stand firm, stand confident in that.
Yeah.
And when I tell you scary to the very end, it was 30 days. So like in day 15, I think we had like $2,000 raised. You're saying 30K. We were not even halfway.
Yikes.
And with Kickstarter, you don't get any, if you don't get it, you don't get anything.
Oh my gosh.
So it's just like all this
That's
energy. It was so nerve-wracking. And then eventually people that I never even met from all over the world, like, so this one woman from Sweden wrote us this sweet little message and she like donated money.
Yeah.
And so it was, but again, the dream let me know to not freak out. I was like, it's going to be fine, everybody.
Yeah.
It's going to be fine. The very end.
I love that so much.
Yeah.
I really do. And I think, you know, we are both big dreamers in real life, just in everyday life. But I think it's information that we receive from the people around us and the universe and getting things like that confirmation
Yeah.
that can oftentimes be the driving force. And so like you getting that dream,
Yeah.
it confirmed that, okay, like I might feel like I'm standing on shaky ground, but I just need to hold firm, stay strong on my own 2 feet because it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And you raised it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
There you go.
Over the 30, actually.
Listen, okay?
Yeah. But if I didn't have that dream,
Yeah.
like I was already nervous. It didn't stop me from being nervous,
Yeah.
but like it would have looked a little different.
Yeah.
I'd be like, oh my God. The universe cites me right now. Like it's not working.
Well, speaking of confirmation, and then in terms of what I was talking about, affirmations that I was just like saying to myself this morning, I think we should get to these affirmation cards.
I've been loving these.
Oh my goodness.
This is a great new addition.
So my dear friend Tochi, I just saw her yesterday. She has these affirmation cards called Today's Word. And honestly, I feel like no matter which card you pull, like it has something powerful to say. But I know that Alicia is really, really great with the shuffle and swipe. So I'm going to go ahead and hand these to you, my dear.
Thank you.
And let you take the wheel.
It's the flick of the wrist.
Yeah. You want to do it right here.
So these cards feel really, really good. The quality, like the card stock is actually really, really nice.
Yeah.
I don't know if we talked about this last time, but even like, I don't know if you guys could see the sides, how it has like this like
it looks like
black
metallic.
Yeah, it's very sexy. See this, the luster, the shine? I'm all about the details over here.
Yes.
Okay, so let's give this a few shuffles. I feel like I'm playing spades. I was there was like this like crazy Uno game going on last night.
Oh, really? Uno is one of my favorite games.
It got rambunctious.
I mean, I'm very competitive.
Are you
Uno.
really?
Yeah. It actually can get pretty ugly.
Wait.
My husband said that like I'm
your voice
ruthless.
changed. I just want to let you know that as you start speaking about it.
I mean,
grounded.
I am very serious about Uno. So if you play with me, just know that it's going to be personal for me.
What?
Yeah, it's absolutely going to be personal.
Oh, we need a game night.
I mean, I'm so down. I'm so down. We should do it.
Like your voice, like I'm telling you, it literally was like, no. I'm about this life. That's what you told
about
me.
this Uno life. I have messaged Uno several times. Uno has sent me
You're
like
that person?
different card decks and things like that because
Are you hitting them on Twitter or are you writing them like they're emailing them?
usually tweeting.
Okay.
Because I am,
Yeah.
I'm very vocal on Twitter, especially if I like don't like something. And so like, I think our first interaction was like, Uno was telling everybody something about like not placing like draw fours on top of draw fours or draw twos on top of draw twos.
Wait, they said it. What?
They said that you're not supposed to do that. And I also replied, several people also replied in the same vein, but like, you gave us the cards. We don't need any further instruction. Thank you so much. I'm going to keep putting draw fours on top of draw fours and draw twos on top of draw twos. Like,
you
what?
Can stack it up.
Yes.
Stacksies. That's how you play.
Yes. And the person who doesn't have one, oh, well, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, that's a little weird.
Yeah.
Okay, do you play? I know we had a whole segment.
No. We're good. We're good.
Do you play, like, say if someone has, what is it, like not a draw four, was it like a draw twos? In their colors? Okay. So someone has like a draw two.
Yes.
Can you put down another draw two that's a different color?
Yes.
And stack those?
Yes.
So people don't play that way.
Who?
And it's actually ridiculous. And then I know people don't play with the stack C's on the draw fours. And I'm just like, no.
No, I do.
Like, don't be salty. Pick up all like 21 of those cards and keep it pushing.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
So I play that way. So if you play that way, you know.
No, I'm down
you're in
for
good
that.
company.
But I'm almost like nervous because when I tell you, you were like, your shoulders were like, we playing Uno?
That is my game, okay?
Is Jimmy competitive?
No, not really.
Okay.
It's interesting because like my husband and I are like polar opposites in so many different ways. And I think that sometimes he just lets me win because he's like afraid of any sort of consequences after if I lose.
Yeah.
I really do get like actually upset.
Yeah.
And my whole family is like that. Like my dad plays hard. My siblings all play hard. Game night at our house is like ruthless. Like my brothers cheat.
Yeah.
Like I don't cheat.
Yeah.
But my brothers do. And so then it gets kind of nasty sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, we grew up as like a game playing family. But
this makes me smile so much.
I'm telling you, I go hard in the paint when it comes to Uno. So,
do y'all play spades too?
My grandma and her friends more so played spades. So I learned spades from watching.
Okay.
Like my uncles and aunts, and they didn't really let us get in.
Yeah.
It was like a them thing.
Okay.
So like I've played it before.
Yeah.
But it's like not.
Yeah, that's
always,
not your game for the most part.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Spades and Uno, both of them, very, very serious.
Yeah.
My family isn't, like, they weren't really big on playing games, but I learned, like, in high school. And because I felt like I was late because everyone in high school knew how to play.
Yeah.
I was like the handicap and no one wanted me on their team.
No.
And I was like, no, but I've really been practicing. I really know how to do this.
Yeah, I would have taken a chance on you.
So now, no, I know how to play now. So I feel you on the competitiveness.
Yeah.
I think parts of me now have kind of like, it's just a game, just loosen up. But like the underline of me is like, no, but we're here to win.
Oh yeah.
That's like what we do.
Oh yeah. Okay, one more card game. One more card game. Have you ever played Phase 10?
No, what is
Oh
that?
my goodness. Okay, I'm gonna have to teach it to you. Jimmy's mom taught me Phase 10.
You buy it at the store?
I'm obsessed. Yes.
Okay.
So, and you can order it on Amazon
Okay.
or something like that. But basically, there's 10 different phases that you have to get through. You can't pass like to the next phase unless you get whatever it says on the card. So it'll be like a run of 3 and a run of 4 or something like that. You have to get both a run of 3 and a run of 4 in your hand and be able to put it down. And then you have to get rid of the rest of the cards in your hand to be out. The first person out, like basically like wins that round of the game and you get to proceed. But if you got the run that you were supposed to get, you also get to proceed to the next one, but you have to take points for the cards that are still in your hand. Does that make sense?
Okay, so it's a little bit of Uno.
A little bit, yeah.
But then there's points involved. So a little bit of spades.
A little bit of spades, yeah. That's why it made me think of it because we were talking about Uno and then talking about spades and like, but Phase 10 is actually a lot different from it, but it's very
I've
fun.
never heard of this. That would be fun to play.
Oh, I'm so down. I'll teach you.
Okay, that can be, and then maybe you'll be a little softer because it's.
We can play Uno later, so I can come in with a soft side.
Okay.
And then get
We
like
want the soft days to come out
serious.
first.
Yeah.
And then we'll progress. We'll progress.
All right, let's try these cards.
Okay. Take a deep breath. Inhale. Exhale, let it go. I'll let you go first.
Okay. That one's calling my name.
Okay.
I also want to ask you something.
Yeah.
How do you draw your card? Like, what is do you have a strategy or anything?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I want to know.
The strategy is no strategy.
Really?
Oh my gosh.
It's just like random.
It's like, so when I really do take the deep breath, it's like to ground.
Yeah.
And then I just start to, when I do this, it's just like a knowing of like,
Yeah.
And it's not one way all the time. It's just like, and sometimes I'll get in this position where like I'll be feeling like 2 ways.
Yeah.
And then I'm just like, go with your first thought. You're second guessing now.
Okay.
Like I'm like, don't second, whatever the first one is, like we're trying to
just go with that.
Yeah, you're trying to let your instincts like really like develop more.
Yeah.
So like go with that.
All right.
What's your strategy?
I mean, I was doing this thing where like I would close my eyes, but like now I think I like to be eyes wide open.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I just look at aesthetics. Like, so that card that I picked was kind of sticking out a little bit, like kind of like this one, where you could see 2 of the letters on it. And for some reason, it just felt like it was in the right place in line. So I just picked it.
So it felt like it was calling to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, because I'm so like aesthetics and I'm always like, things should look like.
Yeah.
That would completely throw me.
Really?
It would completely throw me.
Okay.
Like,
I feel that.
I'd be like, ugh. And so for me, it'd be something so little. And it's like, don't like that card anymore. It's like, dang, the card ain't do nothing, girl.
Oh,
like,
right.
You shuffled me.
Oh my God.
So I like close my eyes to be non-biased in my thinking.
I feel that. Honestly, yeah, I probably do need to be a little bit more unbiased when reaching for the card.
Especially when the other ones have the colors on it. Like, you'd be like, that one's a little faded. It looks a little more.
Like a little like dingy, so we're just not going to go there.
Absolutely.
All right, I'm going to let you read first.
Okay. I even love, I don't know if you guys can see, maybe we'll do a little zoom in.
Yeah.
But this beautiful artwork at the top, which I feel like, let me see. Cover yours up. What does it say? Do you have the same?
Yeah.
I don't want to
the
read
same
it
one
first.
as yours.
Okay. I'd be interested
I think
to
that's
hear
the
what
design on all of them.
Oh,
But I
okay.
do want to ask her what that is.
Yes, I
Because
feel
it's
like
beautiful.
intentional.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
Okay. Give your perspective the space to expand past the limitations that you've been conditioned to accept as unchangeable.
Mm.
Give your perspective this. Did I pull this one? I feel like I've gotten this one before.
I don't. It's not
Offline.
not on the last episode, but did you get it in Chrissy's?
Maybe. Because I remember the perspective expanding past the limitations piece, and I was just like,
Oh, maybe that was in the last episode.
oh my God, it's like it's yelling at me now.
Okay, yeah.
That's
That says
happening.
something if you picked it twice.
Okay. I'm going to like double back to get it.
What are you getting from that this time when you're picking it?
The perspective to expand past like the limitations that you're conditioned. So it's like the whatever parameters and guidelines that like I have, like throw the plan out, like throw the expectations out. Like,
Do you feel like you have a very concrete plan right now in life?
absolutely not. But I think so. Me saying that,
Yeah.
coming from like a type A planner,
Yep.
right? And so now I'm like, I really don't. So for me, this feels like I'm really like jump in the net will appear type of vibes.
Yeah.
But maybe even in this, there's still space to expand past like that. Yeah. So one of the things like I think this might have been offline, but like I like to make home sometimes in things that might not be tenable. But I like to set up home, like, and that's again, it's a HSP thing. Like I like comforting things. So like I can go in any space, and like that's why I'll bring cards or my intention or like Palo Santo. But it's like things that make me feel like safe. And so in something unsafe, I'm gonna figure out how to do that. And maybe it's like even that, like let that go.
Have you ever read? Because as soon as you said you like to make home, like wherever you go, have you ever read "Welcome Home" by Najwa Zebian?
No.
Okay. I will also get you that book. I love gifting books, by the way. It's like my favorite thing to do.
I love that
like,
you love that.
Yeah.
Because I love getting them.
I'm going to get this book for you.
Okay.
And wait, did I gift this?
Is that
the book I gift to you?
I don't think I
No, that's not the one I gave you.
It's not the one, but you definitely gifted me a book.
I did gift you a book, but I'm
it
trying to think of which one did I give you.
We'll have to look at your Amazon cart to see.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Back to the Amazon cart. But if I didn't gift you this book, I want to gift you this book. It's very good. It's actually the overall like theme, without giving away the book, is about building a home within yourself. So you never have to build it in places or in people. And I love the way that she breaks it down, because she talks about all the rooms inside your home. And she labels them, which is so beautiful. And so the imagery within that book really allows you to like absorb what she's saying about building home and like what home should look like. And she's very honest about her own healing journey and like what she went through and her own experiences. And I really think it's beautiful the way that she talks about just like home and like why she arrived at like this thought and like this feeling that she has now about,
And are the rooms, like she's talking about the rooms like inside her own body?
Yes.
Oh, that's really interesting.
So like the room, I think one of them is called like the room of surrender. And then like, I think there's like a room of peace or something like that. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah. That's needed. It's
really, really good. I love that. Okay. So you picked it twice. This one, prioritize your peace of mind over people's access to you. Your boundaries do not exist to accommodate other people's feelings. Your boundaries exist to center your needs. And then she has an asterisk next to access. And she says access equals a means of approaching or entering your physical, emotional, spiritual, and or mental space. I love that I pulled this card. So earlier this week, I had a therapy session with my amazing therapist. I love her so much. Talk about her often. But we actually set the tone for our next session where we're going to talk about boundaries, because I was telling her like some things that have been coming up for me, things that I've been feeling. And she said some things, she repeated some things back to me. And then we kind of started to talk about like distortion and like how oftentimes like these things that we have painted the picture of or painted the narrative of become our truth. We start doing that at a very early age. And so what she was talking to me about in terms of boundaries, which I love that was in this card, was that at a very early age, I was basically shown, told, and like guided to not draw boundaries, especially with authority figures. It was like, you do what they say, you don't challenge it, you don't question it, there's no back talk. That is it.
Yeah.
So not having agency and not having what I felt like was what I needed the tools that I needed to be able to draw boundaries for myself at an early age, then conditioned me to believe that there will always be negative repercussions for drawing boundaries. So even when there's not, I've already freaked out that there could be.
Yeah.
And so we're going to dive into that more.
Good.
Yeah.
She's good.
I know. She's so good. I love her so much. I'm not going to say her name because, that's confidential, but I wish I could shout her name from the tops of the mountaintops because, yes, she's incredible.
That's really good.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that shows up in other ways for people. I think from a cultural perspective and like just hearing how you grew up in the church as well, that's what like my mind immediately drew to.
Yeah.
Because I see how power is like missed and abused in those settings.
Yeah.
And like those are some of my earliest memories of like really seeing like power dynamics where it's like, no, you don't challenge what this like spiritual leader is like say, like, he's been graced by God to like do whatever.
Yes.
So we don't challenge that.
Yeah.
And I've always kind of been a little mouthy and rambunctious, just inquisitive. I'm just like, why?
Yeah.
And I'm just so grateful because of what my mom chose to study.
Yeah.
Like she held space for me to have those questions.
Yeah.
Because when I would do it around other people, it was like, children are seen, not heard. Like, who told her that she could speak in these spaces? Like, why do you think you have a right to?
Yeah.
And so it's like I saw where it was negative, but then
Yeah.
my mom was like, okay, let's discuss this.
I love
Let's talk about this.
But also, has your mom been a therapist your entire life?
No. So the things that like she's teaching me, my mom was not good at it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Like not at all.
That's
like
amazing.
We're very, very opposite. And I
Yeah.
think that she even told me one time, she's like, I had to read a book because like just learning how to like raise you, like you were just very different from me.
Yeah.
And it's like there's just like a boldness that she's very like calm and peaceful and just like very nurturing and loving. So she's not like really rocking the boat with anything. And I'm over here like, excuse me? Yeah, this doesn't feel...
It's not adding up.
Yeah.
Like...
And again, when you're in that like context where it's like, they've been taught for so long that children, you're like in the background.
Yeah.
You don't have rights,
really.
You just do what you're told. I'm telling you to do this. Don't even question why or the reasoning behind it.
Yeah.
Which goes back to, was it Chrissy was talking about the turkey thing or the ham or whatever?
Yeah.
And it's just like, like cutting out that, or were we talking about that here? Maybe it was somewhere else.
Might have been. All of these conversations have like
they're blended,
been enmeshed
so
for
good
me,
though.
Which is actually a great thing because it tells me that this season was really cohesive.
Very.
And though our guests came from various walks of life, there was something that like, it was like brewing like this big pot of just like soup of like all
good
of these
gumbo.
Different, good gumbo. That's what I was thinking of. I was thinking of gumbo, but I said soup. One of my friends, Vaughn, makes like the best gumbo of all time. Some of it I don't eat because I don't eat seafood, but like...
Are you allergic?
No.
Oh, you just don't like it?
I just don't like it.
Oh, wow.
But that aversion came from my mother because my mom does not eat seafood. And it's very interesting because like even going back to those things in childhood, you think about the things that your parents didn't like or that they pushed away. And then you conditioned yourself to believe that you also don't like those things. Yeah.
So that was the ham reference that insert, I don't know, maybe here somewhere else. But it was this woman basically sharing the stories. She was sharing that like you get the ham and they would cut the ends off and put it in the pot.
Yeah.
And her mom taught her and her grandma had taught her and it just was passed on. And then she's like, why do we cut the ends off? And, thinking it was some family recipe to do whatever. And the mom was like, I don't know, because your grandmama did it. And so the next year, my grandma was like, I don't know, my mama did it.
Yeah.
And so then finally it was like, they did it because they didn't have a pot big enough then to fit the whole thing.
Oh,
And so there was no
wow.
reason. You could keep the ends if you wanted to.
Oh my goodness.
don't
Wait, that's my first time
question.
hearing that story.
Oh, you haven't heard
I
it?
didn't hear that one.
But we
Yeah.
don't question.
No, we don't.
Especially when it comes from people who are senior to us. We just assume. And again, you want to be respectful when
Of
you
course.
challenge.
Of course.
But like challenging is okay.
yeah. I love that.
None of the mom didn't challenge, grandma didn't challenge. It had to be like,
Yep.
we didn't have a pot. Like functionally, like we did this because it made sense. You don't need to do this, but you're just continuing to like
Yeah.
pass this tradition on.
Yeah.
So the seafood thing or like other things that aren't like beneficial to us.
Yeah. Oh, so good. And I know we have a lot more similarities to share and lots of things to dig into, but I wanted us to take a short commercial break. So we're going to flip to that real quick and we'll be back in just a little bit. Well, y'all, my dear friend Tochi did an amazing thing. I'm so proud of her for it. She's actually an accountability coach that supports her clients in being in direct alignment with their self-development and their well-being.
Since 2017, Tochi has been really feet on the ground, inspiring and uplifting people online. She's had an amazing presence, just always pouring into her clients. And so in 2021, she took all that magical goodness and wrapped it up into this beautiful affirmation deck. And so what's really special about this is you can make this a part of your own wellness routine. I love choosing and picking a card every single day and really using that as a point to reflect and ground me. So these cards are available right now. Please go pick up today's word with chi. Hello, fam. Welcome back. You're tuned into A Dose of Duality with Alicia.
And Deja.
Awesome. So we had just left off with talking about similarities.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that we were discussing was just that, yes, we could like focus on the things that are like different about us, right?
Of
like
course.
that's what the world usually kind of like puts the microscope on.
Yeah.
But we're choosing to focus on all the many things that have brought us together
Yes.
to be on this couch today.
Yeah. I mean, not to say the obvious, but we're both 35. Very excited about that. We're only like 2 months apart.
No,
We're a little
really,
less than 2 months apart. And we also grew up in the church. That's something that's come out several times in this season. And I think that's like something that grounds both of us and is like a thread in both of our lives.
Yeah.
I think that we both have really close relationships with our mom, and both of our moms live in Georgia.
Just so random.
Isn't that random?
I didn't grow up down south.
I know we did. Well, I don't call it down south because I grew up in Virginia, but like
That is the
some people
South.
say it's the South. I don't think
You
it's
below
the
to Mason
South.
Dixon.
Okay. But like it's not, where I'm from is not Southern in the way that it was when I went down to South Carolina and visited my grandma.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I hear you.
So like, yeah, I don't consider it to be the South because we used to say, oh yeah, I'm going down south for the summer.
And that was South Carolina.
And that was South Carolina.
Did you consider Atlanta the South then?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. That was still the
Parts
South.
of Georgia gets
Very Southern.
Yeah.
So those things, but also how we came together. We're both Lululemon ambassadors.
Yes.
And we both really have cultivated a lot of deep relationships within the brand, which ended up being a lot of our guests here on this season, which is incredible. I think it's interesting because like even as we speak, there's a lot that we agree on. And I'm actually looking forward to like disagreeing a little bit.
Yeah. And seeing like what that looks like.
Right? You know?
Yeah.
So like maybe we have to like bring some guests to like shake things up.
An agitator.
Yeah, right.
Because we both have strong opinions. It's like in what we believe in.
Yes.
Right? So it'd be cool to see like, oh.
Ooh, I got an agitator in mind.
Oh man.
I've got it.
What is his name? Is it
starts with the P?
Yep, I already knew what you were talking about. I already knew.
So next season we're gonna bring in an agitator, y'all. Okay.
King agitator there.
Right. He already knows though. He already knows. He knows he's gonna come in and just like turn the room upside down. But yeah, and then I mean, it's interesting because we both also are on these very deep healing journeys.
Yeah.
So we've been able to share so much and relate so much to one another through those journeys, even though like they look very different.
Yeah.
We just also both have this desire to dive deeper into it.
Mm-hmm.
And like, it's interesting because we both listen to Transformation Church. So like when he did that whole series about going into the deep, and doing that whole series about being anchored.
Mm-hmm.
And like those things continuously come up for me.
Yeah.
And I have to, like this morning, ask myself, what are you anchored in?
Yeah.
Or like, think about how going into the deep sometimes requires us to surrender, but also requires us to maybe get a little roughed up in the midst of it. And that doesn't always feel good.
No.
It's
not sexy.
Yeah.
Not at all.
What do you see that you feel like is the same that like maybe I didn't touch on?
Yeah. So ditto.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm also going to V3 conference. I'm such a transformation fan at this point.
But I mean, also I love that. Like I love that you're going hard, and I love that you are so just immersed in that community.
Yeah.
And I have had a deep desire to be immersed in another church community.
Yeah.
Like lately, I told you about that.
Yeah.
But I've moved so much. And so for me, the physical component of actually going to a church was so prevalent in my childhood. And I want to bring that back somehow.
Yeah.
Especially as I think about this journey to parenthood and stuff. I know that I was raised in the church and certain morals and values and beliefs were cultivated there. And so that's super important to me and also important to Jimmy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm still looking for a church home. And in the meantime, online is just fine.
Yes. Because I go online and I'm still active with their online community and their B groups and things like that. But it's nice to have that in person experience. And so I have a local church that I go to.
Yeah.
We're going to reach out to the community. Everyone send Deja recommendations for churches in Jersey.
Churches in
Send
Jersey.
her
if you know any,
some.
please send them my way.
Only poppin' churches though. Gotta be lit.
Good music. Must have good music. First prerequisite, must have a banging choir, okay?
Hopefully we'll get some good ones for you.
I know, right? Just drop them in the comments,
So everything you said, another thing I think that I've noticed in both of us is this deep sense of loyalty to our peoples.
Oh yeah.
Where it's our peoples are our peoples.
Yes.
And it's I'm gonna hold you down. I'm there for you.
Yeah.
It's not a super large group, right? It's this close group where it's just you hold hands.
Yeah.
They support you. They're there with you. You support them.
Yeah.
They're with you. And so I see that in you and all your friends and those connections that you have around you. And so that just reminds me of my girl group and my friends. I'm oh, I love that.
Yeah.
And then you just wear your heart on your sleeve.
Oh, I do, girl.
And that's
my heart's somewhere over here.
And that's it's almost you gotta be the boundaries piece. Sometimes I'm I know, but that wouldn't make me me.
I know. I was just talking to Jimmy about that this morning too, because I was saying that I admire that he is able to just kind of be a little bit more carefree when it comes to relationships.
Yeah.
And he is not as deeply affected emotionally by things that might happen with his friendships or really anybody other than me.
Yeah.
And he's well, for me, I really only have the capacity to invest in this relationship in that way.
Yeah.
Which is interesting to me because then I think about myself as oh, well, I feel I've got so much love to go around.
Yeah.
So I'm I'm just gonna pour out all the love to community, to friends, to family, to strangers.
Yeah.
But that's where my capacity is.
Mm-hmm.
And so I understand where he's coming from, but that wouldn't make me me if I were then to become a little bit more of what he is,
Yeah. That is so okay. So it bing hit a chord for me.
Yeah.
Because I was Jimmy. And even how he phrased it, the capacity for, I used to be I only have the capacity for this many people.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why my friend group was super tight knit. And it's I'm gonna pour it all in. I'm 100% here, all the things, but it's I don't have that to do for everybody. And so I had to start realizing that relationships can be on different tiers.
Yes.
And they all don't have to be that. That's the inner circle.
Yeah.
Right. And then it can expand out from there.
Yep.
And I think through the years I've gotten better at managing that, which I love because now I'm seeing my world and my community and just my relationships expand and grow.
Yeah.
But there's levels to it all, and I'm able to still make sure my battery's charged.
Yeah.
but give what I can give.
Yeah.
In those like relationships. But like that was literally me. Like I have the capacity for these 4 relationships, these 5. And like people would like want to be friends. And like, I'm so serious. This sounds so mean like saying this, but I could feel someone wanting to be friends. And then my head would be like, I don't have capacity for you. And I don't want to be your friend.
No,
it's just like,
but it's like, I got no spots open. This is the final 5. This is the fire 5, and that's all I got time for. Like, yeah.
And even they get annoyed with me because they're like, girl, what's up? You'll never text back. You text back mad late. And I'm like, but y'all know my heart. Yeah, my heart.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, yeah, speaking of knowing hearts, I think that is also where we're similar. Yeah. Like our heart posture is very similar. Yeah. And I think that's also why we work together so well, you know?
Yeah. I admire the vulnerability piece in you.
Thank you.
You lead with so much vulnerability and like a humbleness. And not humble in like, let me like dim down, demure. Yeah. No. It's not. It's still very much like I'm here to take up all my space. Yeah. Right. But there's just this like you take up your space, and then there's still like, hey guys, but I'm also there's this other space that other people can. You almost like invite people into being like, oh wow, I didn't know there's more that I could take up too. Yeah. Like I'm seeing. Oh, I like that. Okay. Yeah. And then again, the vulnerability piece. Like that's kind of challenging to do on such like a public level all the time, because you don't know what people might want to say and how they want to like pick it apart and dissect it, and like you're sharing from a space of love to like, help and inspire others, and at the same time, but sometimes it's like a target on your back.
Yeah, that's the scary part. I think it's interesting that you mentioned those 2 qualities about myself because they're 2 qualities that I value. Mm-hmm. And the vulnerability piece is still fairly new for me. I think I've become more vulnerable in the past few years. Mm-hmm. A lot of it came due to my personal experiences and what I was going through and the fact that I didn't want to suffer in silence. And so I chose to share and chose to be a voice in certain places. I know like this week is Infertility Awareness Week. And it is a community that I've been a part of for the past couple of years. And it's something that I chose to speak out about because oftentimes people don't necessarily feel safe or comfortable sharing. And it can be a very shameful and isolating experience or journey to go on. And so as people began to share more with me, it actually gave me more courage to speak out because I was like, well, somebody in this position might be afraid to speak out, but I have a platform and I'm not afraid to use my voice. And so this is a place in which I can serve, and it's a place that I can hold a lot of purpose in. Yeah. And so like that's kind of like what led me to like being more vulnerable, especially this particular experience. The humble piece, actually, I have to give credit to my dad on. My dad is like such a humble guy, you know? And interesting enough, like what I admire so much about him is how his confidence and humbleness coexist together. Yeah. Like my dad is also very confident. He knows that he has gifts and talents and he's an incredible genius in music. But he also doesn't feel like he has to like, you know, throw it all around the room. He always makes space for others in whatever room or whatever platform he's on. And I admired that since I was a little girl. I always like wanted to have that quality. Even before I could articulate what that quality was, I was like, oh, I like that my dad moves like that, you know? Yeah. So I think I absorbed that from him. And I think, you know, I've shaped it into the way that feels good for me. But I definitely have to give shout out to Dad for that.
I love that.
Yeah.
Do you think, so the vulnerability piece, when you're saying it's something that's newer for you. Yeah. Did you see that modeled out like in your family dynamics, like people sharing in such a way?
No. And that also made it scary because I didn't feel like I necessarily had close examples that were showing me that like, hey, it's okay to go out and do this. And I think that my family might have been a little bit taken back by it. I mean, a lot of them just called me and checked on me right away. And I was like, y'all know, like you guys already know that I went through this like already. Yeah. Like what I'm sharing now, y'all know that this was a year ago. Yeah. Or like a year and a half ago or something. But I think it was alarming for a lot of them, especially when I shared pieces of me being extremely emotional online.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it's interesting because after that, I saw this sort of domino effect of people that were close to me feeling a little more comfortable to share, whether it was in smaller circles or it was, you know, a little bit more publicly exposed. They felt a little bit more, you know, confident about sharing a piece of their story. So I was like, you know, I'm leading by example, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, I've also been the first in my family to do quite a few things. I was the first in my family to graduate from college, at least in my immediate family.
Yeah.
My cousins also inspired me in so many ways. They graduated from college, but I was the first kid of my parents to graduate from college. And then my brother TJ also went to college, and I was like very, very proud. I was
younger than you?
Yes,
okay.
he's younger than me.
Like, I see you.
Yeah. And he always looks to me for advice, and we talk a lot. And you know, I loved being that influence in his life, and still being that influence in his life. But like I think about things like that, you know, and then like I think I was the first to, I mean, I'm the oldest, but I was the first to like move far away from home and move out from my parents. And then my sisters followed. I remember a lot of experiences of being first, but I'm also the firstborn. So I think I'm not afraid to take that first step and be a leader in my family or a leader in my community, because I think I've always kind of had that role bestowed upon me, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting that you're like, because I'm the firstborn, so it feels like you've always been pioneering it, you know, first essentially, right?
Yeah.
Like you had to figure it out. I'm the youngest in like between my mom and my dad.
Yeah.
And then also just like in my first cousin like group, like I'm like the youngest. And so it's like I've seen all these different examples, and they all went so many different ways. There's great examples. There was other examples. The others in the family. I love y'all. And I think the quality about me was like there was always a thing of like feeling like leadership was something that was just like in me. And it's funny because it's like I'm like 5'2", like I'm not like a big frame.
Yeah.
And you're also the youngest. So it's almost like, where do you get this from?
Yeah.
Like who, like where did you see, you know, like this modeled out sometimes? And my mom is like just quiet. She's really quiet and kind of like chill. Like she stands her ground when something's going on. She's like, no, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
I let it go for so long, but we're not doing that anymore. And my dad as well. And he's like such a chill, go with the flow, like type of guy.
Yeah.
But like a quiet humbleness.
Yeah.
And it's like, he doesn't need to be like showy or like braggadocious. It's almost just this energy that like he leads with.
Yeah.
And you're just like, what is, like, why, like almost like, why are you so confident?
Yeah.
Like, where does that come from?
Yeah.
And so similar, like I saw that, and I never thought about that till you were talking about your dad. And I was like, yeah, where do I get this from? Because I didn't have like all those different examples, but I was like, oh, my dad was the example. Okay, hold up 1 second there. I think it's time for us to just take a little pause.
I agree with that.
Right? There's so much goodness that we are trying to squeeze out in our last episode with you guys. We don't want the moment to end, that we are going to take a part 2. So we'll catch you next week, same time.